83 to 87 and finished my engineering from here. And like all people who go on, either want to go to the US from here, or they want to go to IIM or IAS or wherever. I probably didn't have interest in any of this, but I didn't know what I wanted to do either. So I took up a job, and went on to Delhi and was working with a company called Aisha at that point of time. After 1 year, I realized that this is not what I really want to do, but what I wanted to do is something I didn't know. I used to paint a little bit here and there, but that by most people is considered a hobby and not a profession. But I knew there was something there, and I liked making things. But since design was not a very established profession at that point of time, I had no clue, and I didn't know the word design to start with. This is an exhibition I had done about 10, 11 years ago, where I used all kinds of bottles. I used to visit all the Kamadiwalas in Delhi, and I had a huge collection of bottles. I didn't know what to do with them. Eventually, I cut the bases off and converted them into lamps, and I laid them up on the floor completely. Just like a marine color of a splash of color. So this is one of the pieces. This is a bottle stopper. In my early days, I worked a lot with this group of people who run this company called Happily Unmarried. And this is a bottle stopper for wine bottles or whatever. The whole concept here was to use the whole beauty of the Maasai tribe women who wear these rings around their neck. And the bottle along with the head actually starts resembling their they're tall, they're very athletic in their being, and it somehow somewhere falls into place. When I started my own company, and after having gone to Milan and come back, I had to pay off my loans for having gone to Milan, and was literally left with very little money to start. But there was this inherent desire in me to start somewhere. So I chose this process called sandcasting, which is very simple, basic. You pour liquid metal into a box which is made of sand and molasses, and you can create a form. The beauty of this is, if you have an idea, you can make it for 200 to 300 rupees, 500 rupees, as little as that. You can test your idea out. It's very low tech, it's full of faults, but it has a great flexibility. And so, because out of sheer necessity that I could invest a large amount of money in making a product, I choose a very simple technique which is easily available, not very high quality, but easily available. That is sandcasting. So this is again happy sink. Always envied these big burly guys who would open bottle tops with their teeth, And this is a takeoff on happy sink. And the other problem always being in a party, you would always misplace the opener. You never find the opener, especially when you're a few drinks down, you can't find the opener. You don't know where the opener is gone. So it had a little string to tie around your neck. So it's like a pendant, it's an opener, and it works. This again, I think these early works a lot come out from your student life. We end up smoking and putting the cigarettes in a bottle. And so, but you always can't push the cigarettes down. So this is a funnel designed as an ashtray to collect all the cigarettes. You can put the cigarettes there. So leave the cigarettes at the top. Of course, the whole thing about 100, 150 is not to be noticed, but it's there. This is another piece I've done for the brand Happily Unmarried, which is called the Sandas Ashtray, and it sold really, really well. It's about this whole smoker's attitude of smoking in the loop, and it just came out of there, and it's done very well. I was really scared when I made these products. Who will I sell it to? Will somebody buy it? Will somebody actually pay money for this? And there are those questions you make, but it has done well. And till date we would have produced about More than 10,000 pieces of and all sold here in India, very much right here. It's not that it's being sold and exported somewhere else. It's sold to our own people who are actually associated with a lot of what we have to present here on top of it. And of course the name, it couldn't be any other name. You know, you have to call a spade, you know. And it works. More explorations in sand casting. You know, when you make large sand casting, you have problems of porosity, this, that. You can't make a good quality product. And quality actually has a lot of bearing on whether you can sell a product or not, especially like this. Because if you look around you, there are thousands and thousands of vases available in the market. Why would somebody buy yours? So you have to have something extra to offer, or you have to have something very good quality to offer. It has to be like I said, some earlier speaker talked about optimized values that you're offering to the customer. So what I started doing was, because the quality of castings weren't turning out right, we started doodling into the sand, just creating texture, taking a brush, a wire brush, and you just doodle into the sand, and you create textures. So you create the textures, the faults are hidden behind, and people think it's wonderful. Anyway, this is what I call the punk vase, with the flowers in the hair. This is another exploration of the same doodling technique, but this is an antithesis of make me feel good mirror. It's almost has the spikes coming onto you and almost saying that don't look at me, I'm not a mirror you should look at. But explored nevertheless. Here we were exploring casting. Now once we started going, I realized there's so much more potential in just exploring a simple technique like sand casting. Just different materials, different ways of doing it. Suddenly I was stuck with sand casting. I started off trying to do this because it was easy and simple and cheap. But I'm finding so many possibilities. Here we were exploring casting two materials together. This is bronze and aluminium, cast together in the same mold at two different times. Because they have two different melting temperatures, they can fuse with each other and they cast. Simple objects with simple elements there. The same process, you just cut little pipes, put them in the mold, and you cast them, which is what I call the lunar platter. It's a big platter, which we have pipes of various copper pipes with various thicknesses, just to explore a different effect, a different visual. You probably can't keep much in there, but maybe fruits and things like that, because they need aeration without much work. So this was a very interesting exploration. It's some amount, a little bit of technical exploration of matching two techniques with something that you want to do, which has probably got some sort of aesthetic requirement that you want to explore. And you come together and find a completely new product which is turned up at the end of the day. These were inspired by the corals, coral which are there in the coral reefs and things like that. This jewel and the whole aesthetic is inspired from the corals. Onwards or more, we started getting better at exploring castings as products. And this is a vase which basically is sand cast brass. It whirls in the air, and it also, while the holding cup is really small, it manages to show the flowers and their stalks in full beauty. There's a candle stand which is actually composed of 5 different candlesticks. They are such that they interpose with one another. You can arrange them in a long manner, short manner, round, however you want them, or separately. This is one of the arrangements that you can organize them with. It's very simple. Sometimes asking too much of a consumer to, keep staying around doing it. A lot of people don't want to do it, but some people like doing it. So it's for those who like doing it. Now for another journey actually. For the longest time, I have been working along with these craftsmen from Orissa who work in a very, very special technique which they call Dokra. Dokra is a craft which is technically called Seredadu or lost wax process. They're tribals who produce objects like these they collect natural beeswax from the forests and they take it out in forms of long coils, like a safe maker. They press it out, like you make chaklis or things like that. They take it out in long coils, they put it around sand, cover it, and fire the sand, the wax goes away, and they pour in. Now this is the very, very basic part of the whole story. And either wax is either used in aerospace, very high-tech applications, or in jewelry, large sculptures. But they were making very simple objects at a very simple price because they knew how to use local materials to make. I have been working with these craftsmen for over, I would say, 10 years now, and it's very difficult for me to take you through the entire journey. But the main emphasis here has been to identify what they're really, really good at. And they were good at wire work of the wax. They're fantastic. So here one is exploring just the pure lines. How this texture comes about is that you have a thicker wire and a thinner wire sandwiched together and make these beautiful spirals. And once you cast it, you put it together, and then you antique the whole piece. Only the higher pieces catch the reflection, and that's how this whole texture is visible. The idea was to take this craft, which they're not able to finish very well, to an audience which is extremely critical of quality, to demanding very, very high quality design and consistent design. A person who has a real store is not bothered whether it's cerebral, whether it's coming from Orissa, whether it's craftsmen. He's bothered by the product. And you have to deliver the best. And so the challenge is to make something that nobody else can make, but you deliver the best quality. Otherwise, without which the design has no standing. So this was one of the earlier stages that I had done, in which we explored Teflon coating as food grade. But as it turned out later that Teflon coating was getting a bad name in terms of being food grade, there was some talk of it being carcinogenic, so we dropped it. And we moved on further. Today, my explorations with them stand at this level. And these are castings which are basically almost like lattice work, which use stainless steel, and the handles are all made by them. So our main fight with them is of quality, but they are able to produce. We enable them by giving them tools to be able to consistently produce the pieces. At the end of the day, the product they turn out is simply stunning. We do a valuation at our end, but I think it works out. The same hand-forged, those pieces are made from hand-forged brass sheets. The same pieces which, if played with light, turn off this light, which we call bloom. It's a light for wall. This is benches made with stainless steel mesh and stainless steel frame. Actually, I discovered this mesh while walking around one of the industrial areas in Delhi. And they use this stainless steel mesh for reinforcing hoses, rubber hoses in the industrial environment, so that the hoses are able to take rough wear and tear of the industrial environment. But I saw it as a material for weaving, And so, after a lot of exploration, we reached to the point of making these chairs which are semi-transparent, they're made of complete stainless steel, the mesh is stainless steel, the frame is stainless steel, and they can use semi-open environments. We have managed to explore a little bit of plastic here and there. This lamp we've done about 7-8 years ago. Basically, we call it the caterpillar lamp, and you can turn it around, move it. But unfortunately, it didn't go very far because at that point of time, the light sources available were either only halogens, which have a very, very high emission, and the plastics won't be able to take it. We weren't able to develop enough heat sinks, take the away from the lamps, and plastic at the holding point would burn off, or the lamp was so hot that if somebody touched it, it would burn it. And now we of course have LEDs and we have LED lighting available. Now, since the lamp has gone out of circulation, we probably let paper not fly away when the fan is at